Hello, my name is Sagat, and we are playing Road to the Worrier 3. And between episodes, done quite a bit. I thought I recorded a bunch of it, but that did not work out. That's basically I ended up with about a half an hour of audio, and all the video was a single pause screen from a previous instance of the game crashing. That's well, it is what it is. I'm going to catch up on everything we did. Now, the biggest thing we did was we made the occultism storage system. We've got our dimensional storage actuator, which we make in the same, Strigyor's higher binding and everything else. We make base and Azaveus's. These crystal matrices, I think we actually made in what's now the previous episode. We made 2 of them. One so we could do this. These dimensional stabilizers go up through the crafting circles. Some of them get quite expensive. We had to fight some withers. I went out looking for dragon heads. We ended up with 1 tier 4 and 3 tier 3. This gives us access to a storage system with 5,000 stacks of storage space, and those stacks are generally higher than what a vanilla stack of 64 or whatever would be. Now we're basically using it as a backpack. We have remote access to it. All of that stuff is just the regular recipes from occultism. The only difference is you need the arcane gold to make the golden sacrificial bowls. The other big thing we did was hook up some power back here. We have an enchanted and fully augmented, as we're probably going to get it, redstone flux coil from thermal. And we made ourselves a controller from refined storage. I started to write the quest line for refined storage, but we make this in Severa's. That's the tier 3, the Afrit crafting ritual that we have down there. And we're going to start working on some of the other things. Now, I made a whole bunch of these processors. These are not the normal recipes, but if you played the pack this far through, they'll follow a predictable pattern. It's mana steel for the basic. We've got the arcane gold for the improved, and the mana diamonds for the advanced. So the next thing that I want to make is a grid. Now we're eventually going to be making a crafting grid here, but we need a grid first. Now we are going to need construction cores, which are the basic processors and gold powder, and we're going to need some destruction cores, which is mana quartz and the basic processor. And we're going to work out ways to automate the, we already basically have arcane gold automated down here. We just need to throw gold up here and we get it almost hands-free. Whoops. Wrong spot. Anyway, we can go ahead and make the grid, and then with the crafting table and an advanced processor. Really? What do you got? Crying out loud. We can make ourselves a crafting grid. This will allow us access to anything we have stored in the system and will allow us to craft with it. And it works with JI like you might expect. You'll be able to click in or whatever, assuming you have the contents. And the next thing we need to think about is some storage for it. Now, if you've never seen it before, the conceit is it's kind of a matter energy thing. It stores stuff digitally on disks. We're going to make ourselves a disk drive. I'll just come down here to Azaveus's spectral compulsion. Set the whole thing up. What do we need? An advanced, an ender chest, and a machine frame. These, by the way, you make out of the pure daisy. So we got one of those. We got the vanilla ender chest. And we got our processor. We got our Foliot book. And we'll be making a lot of the basic refined storage components down here. Like, not all of them. You know, our storage parts are pretty much just the vanilla recipes. So we won't have to worry about that. Crafters, on the other hand. When we get to crafters, which will be soon, we'll be down here at Azaveus' quite a bit. We're actually going to need another sacrificial bowl, aren't we? Anyway, we'll just throw this onto the system. Now, right now, it doesn't have any memory. We're going to need to add some disks. I think we can make our first disk. Just with what we happen to have at hand. We can make a 1K storage part. And then, oh, that doesn't have any storage. We just have a crafting table, basically. Okay, now there's a 1K storage disk. Throw this in here. Now, this thing can store 1,000 items. We're going to want to add... I don't think we have the glass right now, but I got some cooking upstairs. We're going to run these disks right up the line and get ourselves some decent storage in here. Okay, we got some glass. Now these all kind of rhyme as they go. Like for 4K, we're gonna need. Let's just throw this in here. We could fit all of this in here, I bet. Yeah. For 4K, 4,000 items, we're gonna need 3 of the 3K, just like so. And we'll make the disk, get the quest. Then for 16K, like you need a 16K storage part, which is 3 4K or 9 1K, and you know, up to 64. And then we have extra disks or extra storage, which gives us, you know, a 256K storage part. 1024, 4096, like it goes up and up. We'll have plenty of storage space. Alright, we're gonna run it up to 16. And this should give us, what, 21,000 item storage that we can just throw in here. That's gonna be really cool. That will be most of the stuff in the chests upstairs. But I also want to make some cable, which is not too tall an order. And we're going to throw some cable in here. And we're going to see what would be involved in an external storage. We just need a couple chests. So, destruction core and construction core again. That's going to be a common refrain. Now what we want is to have it connected to our storage controller here. And to really make that happen, we're going to want the wrench from the mod, not the wrench. Here we go. We just need a basic processor and a little quartz enriched iron. Now we're going to flip this around so that it's facing into the external storage, and then we're going to run some of this cable right over here to our system. Alright. And now, when we look in here, we have access to everything that's up in the storage drawers upstairs. What we want to do to keep things in the storage drawers is to set a priority. We just set it to like 10. It's fine. That means that when, and the rest of this disk drive has a priority in nothing. So things going into the system from any point, if there's a drawer space for them, they'll go there before they go on the disks. So that's pretty cool. Now I'm going to move most of our stuff. Now the next thing we're going to want to make is a pattern grid. This is going to take blank patterns, of which we will be using quite a bit of. We will need a regular grid, and we'll just throw it in there. We have a pattern, didn't I just make one? Yeah. I don't know what was up with that red. This will allow us to program recipes onto crafters, or onto patterns. And then we will be able to put those patterns into crafters and craft stuff on demand. I'm just going to go ahead and make a bunch of crafters. We are going to need these workbenches from Cyclic. It's a nice little crafting table upgrade. And what else are we going to need? We're going to need quartz enriched iron, destruction cores, processors, and of course some Foliot books. Alright, let's get it all set up. 2 quartz enriched iron, 2 advanced processors, 1 each construction and destruction, workbench and machine casing. We got the binding, and we'll get it going on. Should be just about ready. Awesome. We'll make some more. Alright, we got a bunch of crafters. Now by default, there's 9 slots for patterns, which is not very much. We are going to go ahead and immediately upgrade them. Is that a monitor? Yeah, that's Crafter Manager, okay. Where is it? We're going to immediately upgrade them into iron crafters, which hold a much more respectable 27 rows. And that's just generally a good idea to do. We will get into the gold very soon, hopefully today. Now, just a lone crafter doesn't have to point in any particular direction, but ones hooked up for auto processing do, and we're gonna get into that. Now, speaking of auto processing, I want to get that going. So we are going to make ourselves another redstone furnace. We got a quarter of a jar of mana. I'm gonna start moving all this business downstairs, or at least most of it. I'm pretty sure we already made a redstone furnace when we made the induction smelter. Now we'll need another one when we make the melting chamber. That's okay. Now we're gonna stick this thing right here. And I know I'm gonna have more iron crafters right there, so I might as well put those down now. Now what we're gonna want is, well, a couple of things. And we should be making patterns for this stuff as we go. I put the pattern for the pattern in there. It doesn't look like much. But we're gonna want a lot of importers. So we ought to teach our machine how to make that. But first, we should teach it. Well, we already taught it how to make patterns. Let's go ahead and have it craft us up some. That'll be delightful. Okay. I'll just throw this over here. Now we'll type in importer. There we go. Gotta love auto crafting, folks. So, what else are we gonna need? We'll take a little bit of cable. Now, stuff can be hooked up to a refined storage system pretty much any which way. There's nothing stopping us from putting our importer right down there, putting our crafter right there, and with processing it does matter. You want the kind of implied arrow to point at where the machine is going to accept an input from, and we just connect it to anywhere in the refined storage system. It's all lit up. So now what we can do is, let's get a little bit of regular good old-fashioned glass, right? There we go. You see how it's marked processing. You can select that manually, and we will be doing some manual selection there as we need to. So now when this thing needs glass, a recipe calls for it. It'll send a signal to this crafter. The redstone furnace will smelt it up for us, and we'll be styling. I think we have integral components, yeah, that we could throw in there and greatly improve this. And I'm going to move some of the other machines down here. Now, as we add components to our system here, the amount of RF per tick, or FE I probably should say, that it consumes will go up. Right now, it's 122 FE a tick, which these, right now, they're not making any because it's just like keeping up. This one might be doing a little bit. Yeah, we're not even touching our power supply yet. We're in good shape. And, you know, we might just add a row of magnetic dynamos right along here. And before I get too far down here, we need to put a ceiling up on here. I think I'm gonna go very sparse down here. I think I would like to use like light gray concrete for the ceiling. And to do that, we could make all that concrete automatically. We need a few more machines. Let's go ahead and see what we would be dealing with here for an aqueous accumulator. Okay, we can handle all that. Alright, I made an aqueous accumulator, and then I remembered that we have sinks. So let's see, we got, we're gonna need a recipe for terracotta, aren't we? Okay, that's fine. We will certainly be using it. Throw it up here. Awesome. I gotta take back something I said. We had this running down into these crafters, which is connected, but this thing was not recognizing the recipes we had up here. I ran this cable over and it's fine, so, that's weird. Anyway, here's a sink. And this is going to act as an infinite water source for us. Now, somewhere, I have some buckets. And for now, just manually, we're going to make up some rubber. This may be something we find ourselves automating. Okay, I got a couple fluid cells. They'll hold 96 buckets each, which is a good start. We're gonna hop up here, set these to extract. Right? Maybe. Oh, it's not gonna do a thing until, wow, okay. It's not gonna do a thing until we do all this stuff to it. We'll want to input and output. Okay, we'll let those fill up. Now to actually work with fluids in the system, one thing we're definitely gonna want is a fluid grid. That'll allow us to see what we're doing. So let's go ahead. We're just gonna teach this thing how to make grids. We'll certainly go through enough of them. Let's see here. Should be fine, should be fine. And then a fluid grid is a bucket and an advanced processor. Let me just pop it right down here. Now we don't have any fluids in it, so we don't see nothing. We're going to want some more external storage. Now, I did not make a recipe for that yet. I didn't think so. Okay. So we're gonna want to teach this thing. I can't believe I haven't taught it cables yet. We're so early. Right? And then another thing that this thing is gonna have to know is archwood chests. So we're gonna teach it that. We're gonna teach it, yeah, we'll use blazing. We've always got blazing. And probably what we're gonna wanna do is put this right back in here because I had this on exact. We're gonna take it off exact. And we are going to make an archwood chest. Let's see, oh, we already have one, okay. Yeah, now it'll always do archwood chests. We won't have any problem. We're gonna want 3 of these. Oh, need more mana quartz. We're gonna have to set up a whole Botania automation system down here, hooked up to the refined storage, but that's not today. Okay, we got our external storage. We're gonna slap them right on here. Very nice. We need a little cable. Here we go. Yeah, see what I'm doing. And then we're gonna want, we don't want that one. There's gonna be a ceiling there. We're gonna run along right over the back. Now we're gonna have a lot more fluids back here probably. Alright, that'll be fine. Now, we're not gonna see anything in here yet because by default, these external storage are set to item. We want to change it to fluid, and fluid, and down here with the fluid. And now, well, I don't see... We're going to enable some things. So we're going to set this to export. Yeah, okay. Now it recognizes it. Very good. Okay, so we got lava, we got water, we got a little bit of milk coming in. It's fantastic. We're going to want to add honey up there at some point very, very soon. But if we're going to make concrete, right? Let's, we could do it in a fluid encapsulator. Fluid encapsulators are awesome, and we are going to make one. Now the bucket of infinite color is new, but it's just infused iron, some dye, and a token of euphoria. Alright, there we have it. 1 bucket of infinite color. And we're going to need a redstone flux coil and some other stuff. I think we got everything together. Got some alplast and some tin and some gears and a coil. We got our bucket. Looks good. Okay, here it is. This is just the basic. We haven't put any augments in it yet, but what we could do now, if we wanted ourselves some light gray concrete, right? That's light gray wool. We can set this recipe. See how it's got a bucket of water. Clicking this will allow us to interact with this or add other fluids. And you'll notice there's not a bucket there. It's just a square of water, which is exactly what we want. We can throw that in there. And we will, of course, have to teach it how to make light gray concrete powder. And where's the dye? There's something wrong there. Alright. We'll teach it how to make some, like, I don't even know if I have that. Do we have azure bluets growing? We certainly do. Okay, we'll throw these in here. And now, if we wanted ourselves a stack of concrete, we can see the system knows there's 64 buckets worth in that tank. We got everything else to do it. we just click Start, and rather quickly, we'll see the water and the concrete powder go in here and craft us up exactly what we want. And the fluid encapsulator is great. There's an awful lot you can do with it. Now, if we wanted to keep up with what this thing is doing and seeing if there's any problems while it's doing its auto-crafting, what we would want is one of these crafting monitors. They're pretty cheap, and we can just slap it down right here. It's not crafting anything right now, so that means we should probably have a stack of concrete powder in here. But we'll be looking in this thing quite a lot, and that's what it is. Now, while we're messing around with fluids, we are going to want to make ourselves some fluid cells. I guess all we need is a bucket. Let's, what am I doing here? Here we go. Let's go ahead and make a stack of buckets. It's only 16, it's fine, right? Now, 64K should hold 64 buckets. And we are probably not going to have 64 buckets worth just in the system. But you never know. I'm going to try to keep stuff in tanks as much as possible, but there will probably be some little piddly things that can show up in here that we'll need to store. Now, one of the things we're not generating automatically is sand. But we can actually make this in our pulverizer. Now, the trick is, you want to take the extra items out. Otherwise, your pulverizer is going to get clogged up. You can put in catalysts like manually into this thing if you want to. We will have catalysts in the one for our ore processing, probably, if that's the way we go with it. But, yeah, make sure you take those out of there when you're... Otherwise, your system will get very confused and you won't know why. Okay, it's starting to take a little bit of shape down here. We're going to have all kinds of stuff along that wall too, don't worry. So, what we want to think about is upgrading our crafters. I would like gold. It absolutely insists on these vanilla chests. Okay. So the new thing here is neural processors. And these are made up of the following. And we're going to need to make recipes for a lot of this stuff. It's all stuff we've seen before. The processors, the workbench, the obsidian ingots. We can set up to be made in our induction smelter here. Just make all those recipes. Now the gold crafters will add 2 rows, and diamond crafters will add another 2 rows. So we definitely want to, let's see what we're dealing with here. We're going to make a diamond. Are we missing anything? Okay, mana powder. Now if we check in over at our crafting monitor, we got all kinds of things going on. We can manage all of it. This is really going to help us out. And I think that's actually going to about do it for today. We've gotten a lot done. This refined storage system is going to be life-changing for us. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.